Hello everybody and welcome back to Nerd Rat. Today we're going to be talking about friction arms and how endlessly useful they are. Now if you've never seen a friction arm, they're a pretty awesome piece of equipment if you ask me. I don't go anywhere without at least one of these in my kit. They fold up very small and they have so many different uses. It's absurd, and there's no reason not to have one somewhere in your kit. When I travel for work, pieces of equipment like this become very, very invaluable because they have so many different solutions to so many different problems. Number one being, when I run sound, I always have a scratch audio when I use my Rode mic. Now, I am not a sound guy, and so when I run sound for interviews, I like to have redundancies. And this is a very similar setup to what I normally run on my Red, but I'm just showing you on my Sony just because I shoot on my Red. But this is a normal way I will use this Rode mic to capture scratch sound because I don't actually like the sound coming into the camera. And when I'm editing, even though I'm not going to use this, I like good sound. But you might actually end up using this. Say your mic dies or something happens where you now don't have your main source of sound. You now have this as a backup. And what this does is gets it off of the cold shoes and actually gets it closer to your subject, albeit not that much closer. You can get bigger friction arms if you want to. I like to run with the small ones because they have plenty of capacity for these smaller accessories, and they keep the weight down when I'm traveling because of weight limits and whatnot. So this is the main reason I use them. Even when I shoot like self videos, if I'm actually I don't really vlog at all, but this at least gets you really close to your face, but keeps it out of the frame, which is really nice. And when you're by yourself, it's really quick to adjust to wherever you need it. And that makes your shoot day go just that much quicker. And I highly recommend it. So that's one example. Another example is if, say, you're on site and you're like, oh man, I would love to get like a high view of, this client doing something, and you have a GoPro on you. You can just mount that right to the end of this guy. And now you have a clamp you can throw into a tree, or you can throw on the edge of a desk or on a shelf above you and get like a nice bird's eye. And all this does is clamp into place super tight, and then you have these guys, and now you have a camera mounting point, obviously not in the middle of your shot, but you can put it somewhere off to the side, and now you have another camera, or you can put a mic on here or whatever, and eliminates the need to travel with a whole nother like light stand or a tripod or something just to get something in, or to get like a variance on your shot. This makes it way, way simple, especially if you're like working in like cars or something like that. You can attach these on various points inside of a car and get a small camera mounted. We actually used to use these in a show we used to do where we did like interviews in a car, and we actually used to mount GoPros to a bunch of these, and we would hide them throughout the car, and you wouldn't really be able to see them in the main shot because there's not big rigging. You had these small little guys, and now you had a camera in an inconspicuous spot that got another cool angle. So that's endlessly useful right there, especially if you get ones. Most of these come with a little arm like this or a little clamp like this, but definitely a useful accessory to your friction arm. Another example is that if you are someone that shoots with your cell phone, I am not one of those people. I just never had the reason to when I have other cameras, but this doesn't actually work with my camera, but most other cameras it does. And you can get different clamp sizes, but you can actually clamp this into here. And now you can turn your cell phone into a slider if you have a Pico Dolly or something similar. I actually did a video on these way back in the day, but another really cool piece of equipment if you travel a lot. You essentially have a slider in the form of a very small skateboard. But because these ends are 1/4 inch, they basically work with almost any of your accessories. Just about everything I have has some sort of 1/4 inch mount. Another big one I use with this clamp specifically is when I need to run sound through a Tascam or something similar. I can actually attach this directly to my tripod and position my Tascam where I need it so I can monitor sound, run cable into it, but it's out of the way. It's not going to interrupt my camera movement, all that kind of stuff when I am the only one on site shooting something. So little things like that make it super handy. That's pretty much all I had. I mean, there's endless examples I can go through of how useful these become. I've bought, you know, obviously a handful of these, and they do have bigger ones if you deem you need a bigger one, but definitely pick yourself up a couple of these small ones just to have in your kit. I do have some links down on the bottom. They are affiliate links because, you know, anything helps. And if you enjoyed this video, maybe go ahead and, you know, check those out. They are very cheap. They're very inexpensive. You can get very expensive ones. These are all pretty much like off-brand ones, and I have had no issues with them. But thanks for joining us, and you know, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.